Readers Entertainment Radio presents Booklights with your host, author Lisa Kessler. Booklights, where we're shining a light on good books.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. You are in for such a treat. I know spring is around the corner. I hope things are warming up wherever you are. And we are going to bring in some killing today. I'm so excited. You all know that I'm a big proponent of fictional killing. And we have thriller author Kaira Rouda with us today. And if you've never read her books before, you are in for a treat because there is a lot for you to binge read in her backlist. And she has a brand new book out called We Were Never Friends, which I can't wait to talk about. But if you haven't read her yet, I'll read her bio here so you can get to know her. Kaira is an award-winning USA Today and Amazon charts best-selling author of contemporary fiction that explores what goes on beneath the surface of seemingly perfect lives. Reviews have touted her novels as pure genius, an exceptional psychological thriller, a Publishers Weekly starred review, and promising to keep you on the edge of your seat from Pop Sugar. It is clear from one outlet shares that she is the mistress of domestic suspense from Bookstars. So her work has been translated into dozens of languages and optioned for a feature film. 3 of her novels have been named Amazon Editor Picks for the best mystery, thriller, and suspense. Beneath the Surface won a Zibby's Book Award for Best Beach Read, and We Were Never Friends, which is the brand new book, was just featured in People magazine. She is an active mystery and she is active in the mystery and thriller writing community. It is Monday, guys. Thank you for the grace. As a co-founder and co-host of the Killer Author Club, which I poked around online, and you certainly can too on YouTube. And it's a live show supporting authors, and you can learn more about the Killer Author Club and all of her books at her website. I did put a link right there in the show notes, so feel free anytime to click on that, sign up for her newsletter, get connected, and check out all the amazing books. So without any further delay, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay. All right. Isn't it fun to hear your bio read and go, wow, I did all those things?
I know, it's funny. Yeah, and I haven't heard that long of a bio in a long time. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, I like people to really know who the author is, because for a lot of people, even though I'm an author too, and we get so sick of talking about our books, and then I'm always shocked when somebody goes, I didn't know you wrote that. So I like for readers to get as much information as possible. So We Were Friends just came out. You want to tell everybody about it and why they should grab a copy?
Sure. Yes. We Were Never Friends. Yes. Came out in February, and
Yay.
It is the story of sorority sisters, 5 of them, who went on college spring break trip to Palm Springs, California. And while they were there, something tragic happened. And so they haven't really been in touch since then. And then suddenly, much to Beth, our protagonist's chagrin, her daughter is engaged to Roxy, the queen bee from college's son. And all of a sudden, they're going to be family. So Roxy is hosting an engagement reunion for the former sorority sisters, and they've all been invited back to Palm Springs for a long weekend. And it's the reunion nobody wanted, but everyone deserves.
I love that. What was the inspiration for writing it? Were you in a sorority, or how did that all come about?
You know, I was in a sorority. I mean, that was many moons ago. And as I have to say, I loved my sorority sisters. And when I've been on book tour, I'm like, okay, you guys,
it's not true.
It's not about you. I promise. Yeah. So I've been very clear about that. But yes, so I think in sororities, like any other group that you join, you're going to get along great with some people. You're not going to mesh with other people, but you kind of have a shared purpose and you keep going. You know, it's a garden club or sorority, whatever it is. In the case of a sorority, what makes it interesting to me is all of a sudden you're sisters. So that kind of adds another level, right, of, I don't know, kind of a closeness or implied closeness. And then kind of add to it, I love the setting of Palm Springs because so many mysterious things happen there anyway. It was started, as you know, from the 20s and 30s when the Hollywood stars had in their contracts, they had to stay within 2 hours of Hollywood. So they could go back and shoot scenes and stuff if they had to. And so there was a lot of secrets that started back then, and all these like houses that have big high hedges and a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So I love the setting. So I don't know, it kind of came about, all of that came together. We have 4 kids, and 2 of them have now gotten married in the recent years, and another one's engaged. So I'm in the heart of weddings.
Yes, yes. Well, and the heart of meshing families. My daughter
Yes.
just got married, and it's this meshing of family. And I only have 2 kids, and my son is not married, so I haven't had to mesh more than one family, but I can imagine that's a lot of navigating personalities and boundaries and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think, and I hadn't really thought about it either until my oldest got married. And I have 3 boys and a daughter. So it's very different too, coming from the mother of the bride side or the mother of the groom side, where
True.
you're right, where you're allowed to be, where you're not allowed to care about. So yeah,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden, yeah, you are, combining families, but not really, because they're starting a new one. And yeah,
Right.
it is a really interesting dynamic. And it's been interesting over the last few years.
Right, right. And I also it's interesting as they do make their own family, you're kind of not downgraded, but you move down the rung because it should be the 2 of them against the world now, and you're just there as a supporting player instead of, helping them navigate it.
Right. So it's a lot of learning for us moms, I think, as the whole,
Yes.
whole wedding process goes. I mean, it really does start when they get engaged, and then you just kind of watch everything change and the dynamics. And I think just like all parent relationships with each kid is different, your
Mhm.
relationship with their new family is probably different too. But I imagine it takes a while for all of this to settle. And we just had our first grandson, so
Oh,
that's so exciting.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And so that's a whole nother thing. Like, oh no, I've got to share you.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, who am I now? What?
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Grandma. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, when you wrote this book, did it bring back a bunch of memories? Did it kick up dust? Did you use scenes from, your experiences?
I think everything that you do, as an author, that you're always kind of, I don't know, stealing from
Right.
experiences or from memories. And yeah, so I'm sure part of my life experience goes into all of my characters, and definitely the wedding inspiration, and definitely being a sorority back in the day. So I think all of that. And then now who these women are very much an extension of who they were back in college, because people are what they are, right? And so
Right.
so Roxy's become even more of a queen bee. She's just done it in a bigger society way in Newport Beach, California. And then Amelia, who was always kind of the pot stirrer and party crasher, is still kind of a pot stirrer and party crasher. And Jamie is, she was always the studious one in college, and she continues that. She's the famous cardiologist when we meet her now. So I think everyone just is more fully themselves. And so when you put
Right.
all back together again, and then Beth, she's had a quiet life, she's has a happy life, but she never really thought she'd be back together with all these women again. So that's where the fun lies.
Yes. Well, without any spoilers, when you were writing this, did your characters surprise you? Because it sounds like you have kind of a big cast for a thriller, having all of those characters. Did any of them take a right turn where you're like, wait a second, what?
Yeah. I'm a pantser, so I'm writing by the seat of my pants. So my characters always surprise me for sure.
Hmm.
And I would say that each one of them had a surprise up her sleeve, and I didn't know it until I started writing. So that was the fun with this book, because from the moment I did know that Beth's daughter Celeste was engaged to Roxy's son. So I knew that going in, and I knew they were driving. The story opens with Beth and Celeste driving to Palm Springs, and Beth dreading every mile, and Celeste is so excited. And so I knew they were going to be there, and I knew Roxy would open the door with a flourish, and her cocktail dress would match her cocktail she's serving, all of the Roxy things. But I didn't know until they showed up who else was coming. So the doorbell would ring, and I'm like, oh, let's see
Oh,
who that is. Yeah, so that's fun.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pantser as well. I mean, I always know what the end of the book is going to be, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. And so for me, when people leave reviews about, a classic twist, I'm always like, well, no one was more surprised than me.
Right. I know. Don't you love that?
Yes.
I love that so much. That's my favorite part of writing these kind of books and in this way, in the pantsing way, because you just all of a sudden you're like, oh, that is so great what they did. Or when they scare me, I mean, they also do that. And yeah, that's really fun and scary too.
Right, right. Well, did you have a favorite scene in the book? Like, that upon all the zillions of editing rounds where we feel like we're going to vomit if we have to read the book one more time. But
Right.
was there a scene that, with, as long as it's not spoiler, but a scene that was, where you went, this scene made the whole book worthwhile?
I know. I'm trying to think. I mean, because I always think about, I mean, one of my very favorite scenes is when Beth and Celeste are driving to Palm Springs because you kind of get a really clear sense of their relationship and they're super close and they just have a great time together. And Beth wants to hold on to that. So I think that, I don't know. I always think of that scene when somebody asks me, and even though it's the big opening scene, I also am a big lover of pickleball. So there's a pickleball scene in the book, which this is, I think, the second time I've had pickleball in my book. So yeah, it keeps popping up. So that was fun to write. And yeah, I guess probably when everybody's arriving and as a reader, hopefully you're as surprised as I was about who's showing up. In fact, if you haven't taken the quiz yet, I don't know if you knew about this, but I have on my website on the homepage a quiz to find out which sister you are.
Oh,
So
fun.
you can take it. It's kind of like the old magazine quizzes. And you
Yes.
can take it. You're not supposed to overthink it, and it'll tell you which of the sorority sisters you are, so you can kind of root for her along the way, or find out
As
how.
you're going through the book.
Yeah, or find out how scary she is. Yeah,
Right, right. How scary perhaps you are.
exactly, exactly. A little
I
hidden
love it.
Roxy, maybe. Yeah.
Right, right. Just a little, just a touch. Um, well, from your other books to this book, did you have, in your other books, do you usually have such a big cast of main characters, or was this new for you?
It goes back and forth oddly because, like you, I'm a pantser, so I don't really
Uh-huh.
know when I sit down to start writing. So my series, Beneath the Surface, that book it has three books in the series, third to come. That has a cast of characters, numerous points of view, and which is funny because I again didn't know in that book it's a patriarch, kind of a succession play, and he's
Hmm.
invited all of his terrible children and their spouses on his brand
Uh-huh.
new yacht, and so they have a weekend trip to Catalina planned. So that one was fun because I'm like, oh, you've got to have a daughter, you've got to have a couple, that was fun.
You're
So yes,
right.
there are several points of view in that book, but Best Day Ever, my first suspense breakout novel, is one point of view all the way through from a male perspective, which is really
Oh,
unique. Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah.
So I've done all types of things. My last year's book, Jill Is Not Happy, was two points of view, the husband and the wife. So that was fun too.
Well, I was wondering when I read about having all these sorority sisters, do any of them come whispering that they would like a book?
I know.
Is it going
That's
to be a
funny.
series?
Yeah, I wonder. I haven't ever thought about that, but I definitely, some of them are very strongly still in my head. In fact,
Right.
when we were busy, like I was starting to promote We Were Never Friends, and I just finished talking about Jill, and Jill is not happy. Jill was not happy. She's like, oh no, who are these other women? So if anything, she would want to crash their next reunion. But
Nice.
Jill, you're not in this book. This is not your story. But Roxy is a very strong character. She's still in my head for sure. And Beth, too, in her own way, is very strong. But yeah, so I could see them, who knows where the wind.
Another wedding.
Yeah, I've got that coming up too. Yep.
So what is next? Do you have another book coming out soon?
I do. I have a collaboration with the Killer Author Club.
Oh,
Yeah,
fun.
which is really fun. So it's Kimberly Bell and Heather Gudenkoff and I, and we decided we've been having so much fun with the show that we started back in 2022 during the pandemic that we would go ahead and pitch a collaboration. So we did, and it will be coming out in winter of next year, and it's called Take Back the Night.
Oh.
And we're really excited about that. We just sent in our edits, so hopefully it's good. We don't know, you never know. And then I will have a standalone next year. But I have two different publishers, so they're trying to figure out the sequence of things
Of
right
when
now.
they're going to put them
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
So
Well, is Take Back the Night like one book that all three of you worked on?
correct. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And you're all still friends.
Yeah. Not only that, Lisa, the funniest part about the whole thing is Kimberly Bell is a complete plotter. And then
Oh
I'm over
my
here on the
gosh.
pantser side, right? So that was the really interesting part of the whole thing because she comes in and she'd already done a collaboration before. So she comes in with like spreadsheets and
Her
character
Bible,
thing.
her book
Yeah,
Bible.
yeah, all of that stuff. And I'm like, I don't use spreadsheets. And she's like, well, you're gonna have to. And so I was like trying to learn how to wrap text and not move the whole boxes around everywhere. It was something. So yeah, but we made it through that whole process because kind of when you're collaborating, you sort of need to have a general sense of where you're going, right?
Right.
When other people are depending on your characters, you can't just say, "Well, I'll get back to you later." So I made it work, but yeah, the process part was very different for me.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. But you were
Yeah.
able to work within the confines of this is what your character is allowed to do.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, a lot of times I would find myself writing the chapter because we each have our own character, but they're all friends and they have to overlap. So I would go and write my chapter and then put in like a few words about what the chapter is about because my characters don't like to explain themselves until after they've
Right.
already done what they're going to do. So that to me was the hardest part is trying not to let my character lose her voice while also collaborating enough that
Right.
had a
Right.
set story. So
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Can't
yeah.
wait. All right.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the Killer Author Club. You said that you started it during the pandemic. Is it like a video podcast? What is it so people can go find it?
Yeah, so they can go to killerauthorclub.com for everything about it. But we started, so I had a book my second pandemic book coming out, unfortunately titled Somebody's Home when we were all
Oh, no.
stuck at home. My poor book. Poor lady. It has a pouting woman on the cover, and now you know why, because she's like, I'm in the pandemic. So no, it's not even about the pandemic. But anyway,
Right.
so I reached out. So I thought, okay, we're all stuck at home. There's got to be a fun way to talk about killing of the fictional kind. And so I
Yes.
reached out to Heather and Kimberly, who both had books coming out around the same time too, and said, hey, do you guys want to do a show together? And I came up with the name Killer Author Club. I thought that would be fun. And so we did. We launched in 2022, I think around January. And we've just been going strong since. It's every other Tuesday and it's a live show. And it's on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then it also, obviously, we hold it. And then every Friday, we release a podcast, which has the show plus bonus content that is not part of the show.
Oh, fun. Like reactions to what happened to the live?
Yeah, we call it the killer postmortem. So it's like
fun.
the guest with like questions we ask that aren't part of the live show.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's really
Fun.
fun. It's been great. We've had incredible authors on, and now we're like booked a year in advance. It's been really amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, great response.
Yeah. Oh, how
Yeah.
fun. So everyone check that out. I will put a link to the Killer Author Club on the show notes as well, but be sure that you check that out. And they have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. So, don't miss out on that. That kind of led me to ask, like, do you have, out of all the books you've written, what is your most original kill? Like one where it was so wild and you're like, seriously, this could happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I tend to be a subtle killer. So I like, poisoning and things that you can do and then skedaddle. I'm not big on like guns and knives and stuff. I mean, sometimes you have to use those, but not all the time. So I would say in my book called The Widow, which is about a cheating congressman whose wife is getting fed up by the time you meet her. And I would say that the method of killing in that book is probably one of my favorite.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
And when you are concocting, what might be a good way and you start doing your research, do you reach out to, how do you research it? Do you reach out to books or doctors, or do you have a friend who is a coroner, or what works for you?
I don't have the connection, although that would be a good thing. It depends on what type of killing I'm working on. I did have a funny story back when I was first starting out. I had a person that wanted to kill somebody with a grill blowing up, like a gas
Mhm.
grill. And at the time, we were getting a new gas grill, and so
Your poor husband.
oh
He's
yeah, he
like,
sleeps with one eye open for sure.
yeah.
But so we have the plumber coming to hook up the gas line. That was like the last step. So I'm like, hey, Larry, I was wondering like how long would you have to leave it on and like what temperature so that when somebody opened it, it would just like that. And he goes, I am not going to tell you that. I like Harley. That's my husband. And he left and he never came back. So you got to be careful, like
Oh
research.
no, who
Yeah.
you ask?
I
Yeah.
scared him away and he never showed up again. So yeah, it just depends, who might be the subject matter expert. And then I have to convince them that it's not about my husband. It's
Right, that
actually
it's
for a
just
book.
fictional. Yes,
Mhm,
yes.
mhm.
Yeah, I was writing a werewolf series and I wanted to I thought I was going to have to kill this werewolf's father, and then my husband convinced me, couldn't you just put him in a coma? Because I didn't want to kill him, but I thought I needed to for the character. And then I'm like, a coma, that could work. And
Yeah.
the werewolf was the pack doctor, and I'm like, if somebody was going to get his dad, maybe they could stop his heart long enough that he's in a coma. And so anyway, I had to reach out and find out how much potassium chloride could you put in there to make their heart stop, but you could still bring them back to life. And you probably know DP Lyle, but he's a great thriller author who is also a doctor, and he
Yeah.
will let authors ask these questions. So I
Oh,
sent it to
nice.
him, and he sent me this email that was, of course, he has this disclaimer that this is not to be used for actual things, but he told me what you would need to put an IV in to counteract the potassium so that he could be in a coma and not dead. So it was very handy, but people
Nice.
don't
Yeah.
always realize how much research goes into doing these killings, so that because if you can make the unreal as real as possible, it's easy to suspend your disbelief, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We
Good
want it
point.
to be like real, but yeah, it can be hard to get that research.
Yes, exactly. I didn't know that Doug does that, but that's good to
Yes, he
know.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I think also when I mean maybe he doesn't do it anymore, but he was doing it and collecting it, and he's actually put out a couple books about
Mhm.
the ways authors kill and and things
Oh,
like
that's
that.
funny.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, it's very very cool. Do you always write thrillers? Do you have other genres that you kind of have in the back burner, or?
I've written other books. I started out writing women's fiction, and
Mhm.
then I had a 2 year stint in romance, and then I started getting darker and darker and darker. So I think I'm happily ensconced in domestic suspense. It's kind of what speaks to me. So I've had 12 suspense novels since Best Day Ever, and I think I'll just stay here for the time being. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
Well, what did your writing journey look like? It sounds like it took you a while to find your voice, but were you always going to be an author, or did you fall into it?
I was going to always be an author that I know of from third grade because
Oh,
our teacher asked us to write to the person we wanted to be when we grew up. And so I
hmm.
wrote to Robert McCloskey of Make Way for Ducklings and Blueberries for Sal and told him
Oh,
that I wanted to be an author. And he actually wrote back and he said, Dear little Kara, thank you for your note. I am an illustrator, not an author. Pick better next time. Just
oh no! What?
yeah, but doesn't that kind of
No.
summarize the publishing journey? It really
Yes.
does, right?
Oh my gosh. Dang it. In
But
third grade, do better
there,
research. Woo.
yes, a dose of reality there. Thanks, Bob. But it's funny. I do. I remember always loving to read, and my librarian in fifth grade, Mrs. Gardier, laminated a story that I wrote and put it on the shelves, which was so important. So I always had that love. I also always wanted to be Darren Stevens in Bewitched. I didn't want to be the magical person, to
Uh-huh.
be the advertising guy. I don't know why. So I kind of had a pretty long career in both journalism and magazine writing. I was a society columnist for 10 years for the city.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then also had a career in marketing, ended up as vice president of Inc. 100 firm and franchisor, and then went on to start a business with my husband called Real Living and grew that to 22 states until we sold it to, I like to say, we sold
Wow.
it to Warren Buffett. And then that's when I wrote a nonfiction book for women entrepreneurs called Real You Incorporated, 8 Essentials for Women Entrepreneurs. And I realized after writing said book that I had to go on a book tour, which I'm like, no, everything I know is in the book. Just read the book. And they're like, no, you've got to go on tour. So I find myself at an expo in Austin, Texas with like 1,000 women. It was Women's Expo. And I give my speech about it's never too late to put your passion into action and live the life of your dreams. And it's all up to you to make your dreams come true.
And
And a
you were
woman
talking to yourself.
I was. A woman in the audience raised her hand and said, so have you done everything? And I'm like, I still want to write that novel. And she's like, what are you waiting for? I'm like, you were totally right. So that's when I went home and wrote my first novel, which was loosely based on on my nonfiction book. So it's more women's fiction-y and more inspirational about a woman having a midlife crisis who makes the things to change list. So anyway, that one was called Here Home Hope. And I
Oh,
just got to sign a copy. I'm on book tour right now, and somebody brought it with them to my signing. I'm like, oh,
oh,
my first
oh,
novel. I haven't seen her in a while. Yeah, so that was fun.
oh, that's so cool. So
Yeah.
when you decided I'm going to write that book, what was your husband's reaction? Was he surprised or did he go, finally?
Yeah, I mean, he knew that I'd always wanted to do that too. So I think it was really the first time because we had sold the business. He was still running a division for the company that acquired us. And it was the first time I was sitting at home, the kids were all in school, and I'm like, I do have time to like figure out what my next step is and what I really want to do. And that I did. It was scary though, just sitting down and doing that for the first time. And yeah, I'll never forget. Just it was weird. We had just moved to California, so I'm in this house by myself at rental, and my dog's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know," or Oreo, but I'm gonna try to write a book. But yeah, I'm so glad I did though.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it's funny because at very in the beginning, I was lucky and I got to meet Ray Bradbury while he was alive, and he was talking about that the writing fiction is a really difficult art because we're taught to write a sentence in school, and that is not a story. And the difference between, where is the story versus you wrote a bunch of complete sentences and now you want to sell the book, and
Yeah.
and so a lot of times people don't realize that we can't just sit down, craft our book and sell it. It takes a lot of rewriting and a lot of learning and critique groups and, to try and hone, okay, here's the story, right? Did you
Right.
find a good critique group? How did you get your first book done?
I have some friends who are readers. That time I had an agent. My agent for the nonfiction book part, her in her offices, she had a fiction agent. So I
Oh,
was,
yay. Oh,
yeah.
good.
So
That was
that
a
was
big help.
nice. Yeah, that was a big help. And so
Yeah.
Anne was kind of my first agent, and she helped me with kind of the whole idea of a
Right.
novel, right? There's an A line and a B. Yeah, it's funny. Now that you have asked me that question, I haven't thought about it in so long, but really it is. It's like the whole craft beneath the art that you have
Hmm.
to learn. And I think the more you do it, the more you learn, but you're always learning, right?
Right.
Every day.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
hopefully every book we write gets better. That's
Hopefully,
always the
yes.
hope. Yes.
That is the goal, by golly. I don't know, you wouldn't know that from the one-star review people, but seriously, y'all, we're trying
We
out here.
try. We try.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah. So give us a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Well, and that kind of, I mean, I could talk to you all day, but I'll try and wrap us up here. But when somebody reads your book and they're excited, please, people who aren't excited, let's not talk to the author or tag them in a post. But if somebody's super excited, how can they get in touch with you and let you know that your book was, when's the next one coming? How can they reach out?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about that too today because I was reading an article about newsletters, and I've really tried to ignite my newsletter and pay
Right.
more attention to it recently. So probably the best way to stay in touch with me is to sign up for my newsletter, which is on my website, like all authors have. At, yeah, KaraRouda.com, which is a lot of vowels, but sorry about that. But it just is. Once you figure it out, I'm there. But I'm also on social media everywhere. I primarily find myself on Instagram these days
Okay.
because everything else gets confusing. But yeah, I'm pretty accessible, so people
Yeah,
can
yeah.
find me.
And for readers listening, don't forget that sometimes when we're struggling and having a struggle day, your little 2 sentence post direct message can make all the difference when they go, oh my gosh, I stayed up way too late to read this book. That can make our day and make the next chapter go. So don't be shy.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're saying that, Lisa. Yeah, that's a really good point. It does mean so much. I mean, just this recent tour, being able to, I've been at it for about 4 weeks now, and being able to connect with readers in real places
Yes.
and having them, come with my first book or, several of my books. That has been so fun, and find new readers, especially well, with We Were Never Friends, people coming up to me and telling me they're Roxy or they're Beth or they're Jamie, because they've taken the quiz. And I'm like, have you read the book yet? And they'll be, not yet. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. You'll see who you are.
I
You'll
can't wait
see.
for you to find out.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's been really fun.
Great. Well, everybody go run out and grab your copy of We Were Never Friends. It's available everywhere. It sounds fantastic. And sign up for Kara's newsletter. And the link is right there in the show notes. And also check out the Killer Author Club, because if you love thrillers, you're going to love all their guests and have a great time. And there's a lot of videos up already on YouTube. So have fun. So thanks so much for being here today. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you, Lisa. You too. This is really fun. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Booklights. Be sure to connect with us at www.readersentertainment.com for articles, blogs, videos, and podcasts that matter to readers.